Once there was a young man who had just landed a new job at a top IT company. He was proud, confident, and loved his cabin, his badge, and of course, his growing salary. Right outside the office gate, another young man had opened a tiny samosa cart with the small savings he had. Every day he stood under the sun, smiling and calling out, "Hot samosas, crispy bites of happiness." The office worker would often look at him and laugh with his colleagues, saying, "This guy's selling samosas with so much style. He thinks he's running a five-star restaurant." Sometimes during lunch, he'd still buy a samosa or two and joke sarcastically, "Ever thought of joining a company like ours? You've got marketing skills. Maybe I'll recommend it to you." The samosa seller would simply smile and reply, "Maybe, sir. But here I don't need HR approval to change my samosa flavor." 5 years passed. The office worker had become a senior executive, a better chair, a higher salary, and more meetings than free time. Across the road, the small cart had turned into a full-fledged samosa shop with a name board, seating, a cashier, and even samosa combos. The place buzzed during lunch hours. One afternoon, the executive said, "Not bad. But imagine if you had used your brains in a company like mine. You'd be somewhere big by now." The shop owner chuckled, "Sir, I am somewhere big. Next time your office delays your tea break, come over. I'll serve you faster." Another 5 years passed. The office worker had been promoted again. Now a manager has a good title, a higher package, and even less time for lunch. But across the street, the small shop had vanished. In its place stood a classy restaurant, glass doors, digital menus, online orders, a manager, and even a waiting line. Out of curiosity more than hunger, the office worker walked in one day and saw the former samosa seller at the counter, now in a formal shirt, managing staff like a pro. He smirked and said, "So, you finally became the boss of your samosas, huh?" "Yes, sir," came the calm reply. "And I didn't even have to wait for a promotion letter." The manager sat down and said mockingly, "10 years in samosas, don't you think you could have done something bigger?" With a respectful smile, the restaurateur replied, "Sir, may I say something?" He nodded. "10 years ago, I sold samosas from a basket. You were an executive. We both earned 10,000 Indian rupees a month. Today, you're a manager. I own this restaurant. I earn more than you, but that's not the point." The manager raised an eyebrow. The restaurateur leaned in with a gentle smile. "Here's the real difference, sir. What I built for my children can continue. They won't have to start from zero. But your job? When you retire, someone else will take your place. Your kids will have to begin where you did at the bottom. Now tell me honestly, who really used their time better?" The manager sat silently, deep in thought. He paid the bill, nodded respectfully, and walked back to his office, his mind full of questions. Success isn't only about having a good job or earning a high salary. It's about building something meaningful that lasts, something that can grow and continue even after you're gone. A job gives you security, but creating your own work lets you leave behind a legacy. This story teaches us a valuable lesson: how we use our time matters. It's not just about moving up the ladder, it's about what you build along the way, something that grows with time, something that can be passed down. In the end, true success is about creating something bigger than yourself.